welcome to Assembly Calendar. I'm Mike Friesen, and with us for our program today, Assemblyman Tom Alfano. Tom Alfano represents the 21st Assembly District in New York State, an Assembly District that includes parts of Nassau County. We thank you folks all across Long Island for tuning in, especially you folks in the Elmont community, where today we again focus on Elmont and all the good things that are happening there. And Tom Alfano, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike.
We got a lot to talk about when we talk about good things that are happening in the Elmont community, and in fact, we're going to start off today with a very particular piece of business that is potentially so important to the Elmont community, and that's good things for Belmont Racetrack. We go back just a couple weeks to the state budget process, and part of that process is negotiations that take place between the governor and the two houses here in the New York State Legislature, the Assembly and the Senate. Tom Alfano, tell us a little bit, because there were a lot of, I'll call them hurt feelings here at the state capitol when earlier on in this legislative session, Belmont Racetrack did not receive some of the same treatment that other racetracks throughout this state did.
Mike, as you know, Belmont is a beautiful park in Elmont, southwest Nassau County, and for years we've been trying to develop the area surrounding Belmont Racetrack and the grounds of Belmont itself. And we believe, the elected officials, Senator Skelos and myself, the local elected officials, and the people, most importantly, that the introduction of video lottery terminals would be an economic engine that would help aid and assist, Belmont and Elmont to grow and develop economically. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. There's been resistance primarily on the part of the Speaker to introduce VLTs to Belmont. We continue to fight to this day, to this moment, to see that we do get our fair share of something called host community aid. All of the other racetracks, there are only 3 in New York, and the other 2, Aqueduct and Saratoga, have VLTs in their environs and are able to get host community aid of millions of dollars. We, in this particular budget, fought hard, even though we lost the battle of VLTs at Belmont, but we were able for the first time to get $5 million host community aid to Elmont and the surrounding Floral Park community due to our strenuous efforts, I might say. And it's a real step in the right direction.
And when Tom Alfano said he fought hard, he's not kidding. And we're going to show you right now part of that legislative process. When the Assembly passed early on in the budget negotiations its own budget bill, so it could be out on the table along with the governor's proposed budget and the Senate's proposed budget. And when Tom Alfano saw what the Assembly's budget bill put forth by Speaker Sheldon Silver, what was in there, he had some issues. Let's go to the floor of the Assembly and Tom Alfano.
I represent the 21st Assembly District in Nassau County, which is one of the most diverse districts in our state. There are 77 different languages spoken at the local public schools, and it happens to be the home of Belmont Racetrack. We missed a tremendous and important opportunity today, my colleagues, by not including video lottery terminals in this bill as our amendment suggested, and as the Senate budget resolution today did in fact contain video lottery terminals for Belmont Racetrack. One of the best reasons why we should do this, ladies and gentlemen, is, as was noted before, these are difficult economic times, and we don't know how long these difficult economic times would last. What we do know, based on the economic estimates, is VLTs generate somewhere in the area of $250 million to the state coffers, another opportunity that we missed. VLTs would not only serve to stimulate our state and local economy, but also there would be an incredible amount of good, high-paying, quality jobs, which would no doubt be found to exist in the southwest Nassau County area, which is also an empire zone. The Senate resolution, Madam Speaker, which was passed today, did other important things referable to the Belmont Racetrack area. It created a 15-member local advisory board made up of local residents who know the area and for too long have been ignored by the prior NYRA administration, which administers Belmont Racetrack. There would be $5 million this year for local host community aid, which is badly needed in the local area of Elmont and southwest Nassau County. There would also be in the Senate resolution and the minority amendment $20 million of host community aid, which would kick in when the VLTs begin to operate at Aqueduct Racetrack. Madam Speaker, the local aid to southwest Nassau would go to police protection, it would go to economic development, and it would go to education for the hardworking men and women of southwest Nassau County. I urge a no vote.
Your words seem to hold some sway, apparently, because as you noted, you were able to come up with that community host aid. Let's talk a little bit about that $5 million. How important really is that? What kinds of things are going to be getting done in the community?
It's really super important because it can go to the things I just mentioned at the end of my comments on the floor. It could education. And the more money, the more state aid we get for education, the lower our property taxes are. We have the highest property taxes in the state in Nassau County, and this will be a step in the right direction to stabilizing the property taxes, which is a goal of mine and the senator certainly. It would also go for increased police protection, realizing that with the more we make Belmont a destination, the more there'll be more people visiting the park, and perhaps there needs to be more police protection. So that's available also under the host community aid. Also, it's an economic development engine. It's a tool, as I mentioned, it's an empire zone. I mean, it's in the interest of businesses to locate it in an empire zone. When we make Belmont a destination, it will be a really hot property and a hot commodity. But again, much work needs to be done, and we will be relentless on behalf of the people of Southwest Nassau County. If it's good enough for Saratoga, and it's good enough for Aqueduct, which, trust me, Aqueduct will be done right, because they're going to outsource that to private companies that know how to build racinos, basically. We want the same thing for Belmont, to eventually get a hotel there, a restaurant, some real economic development. It's a huge park, Mike. It's a huge facility that, as we sit here today, is grossly underutilized. That must change, and I'm very confident that that will change.
And that could be just a hugely potential shot in the arm for the community. And as we continue on here, we're going to look at the business community in Elmont and how they are forward-thinking and looking towards the future. As we go to our next piece of tape that we have here, we've got footage of an event that you helped sponsor, Tom Alfano, that has to do with expressing how really Elmont's got to participate in a global economy.
As I mentioned, I mean, Elmont, there are so many languages spoken at the elementary school level. They have this wonderful program sponsored by Elmont Memorial High School called Global Links. It brings people together to motivate our future business persons and to celebrate diversity, language, and how our economic has become quite global. There are workshops and sponsors explore international business, how to run a business, all how to find great business opportunities in this global economy. And I have to commend Principal John Capozzi and the Elmont Memorial team, who've done such a great job with this Global Links project. And I was very proud to secure $1,000 to assist this project.
As we look at you addressing the group that came together that particular day, as you said, you've got so much influence from different communities within the Elmont community that this has got to be a real eye-opening experience, especially for the high school kids that are involved, that they're just part of one very much larger picture.
There's no doubt, and many of their parents, if you're from Haiti, if you're from Trinidad or one of the islands, and the odds are, if you're in business, you continue to use those contacts of your youth and continue to do business with these countries, and that's what's really happening. So many of these children have a leg up just by virtue of where their parents and grandparents come from, because their parents seem to continue their ties to their country of origin.
Well, it seems to make so much sense, because not only is the community of Elmont so diverse in where the residents that make up that community are from, but really the state of New York falls right into that. You could just make this an exponential thing where the state of New York is also made up and does business with so many different communities worldwide.
No doubt. New York is a mecca, a beacon for business opportunities, and people come from far and wide to come here to do business. So it's a good learning experience.